Good afternoon. My name is Bowdish, and we're going to be looking at charter schools and how they are the profit centers for the elites. Quick introduction, we're going to be discussing the privatization of public services, specifically in the education sector and charter schools, and how they are the mechanism the business and wealthy elites use to profit and also to maintain their dichotomous power structure of the haves and the have-nots. So, historical background. Charter schools were first introduced in the 1970s as a way to bring experimental education practices from the research institutions and universities to the K-12 classroom. They were later embraced by the political right in the 1990s, and shortly thereafter, private management companies came in to play when they realized there was a constant revenue stream to be had. School of choice is one of the tools that charter schools use to funnel students from traditional public schools that they deem as failing to their charter schools. There are three general options for families that want to escape the traditional public school. They can use vouchers to attend a private school. They can send their children to a out-of-district school, or they can attend a local charter school. One of these options, only one of these options, allows for privatization and profit, and that is charter schools. 65% of charter schools operate in urban areas where families come from low-income households. These families do not have the resources to send their children to faraway suburban districts. Oftentimes, vouchers aren't accessible, so the only true option is charters. A lot of these charters use unique pedagogical perspectives, which is one of the original ideas behind charters in the first place. Some of the charters use Montessori or Afrocentrism or curriculum-based pedagogical perspectives to entice new students to attend. As of 2008, 80% of charters had some sort of unique focus. However, these focuses don't tend to actually lead to higher performing students. 56% of charter students showed no significant difference than their traditional public school counterparts in reading, while 19% were actually significantly worse, and in math, 40% showed no significant difference, while 31% of charter school students were worse off than their traditional public school counterparts. Students equal money in charter schools. The more students that a charter school can attract, the more they can accept in-state aid payments from the state that they operate in. Uniforms and character education are some tools that charter schools use to sometimes mimic their successful private school counterparts, again, to attract more students. These unique perspectives, these unique focuses, uniforms, character education, they're all ways to bring students in and increase profit. Some schools will even go so far as to use unproven techniques like integrated visual learning that have not been peer-reviewed, but they look good on paper. A reduced union presence is also another goal of the political right. They have been looking to decrease the union presence in public education for quite a long time. It allows, the less union presence allows for programs like fast-tracking teachers from successful colleges to the classroom, programs like Teach for America. It also decreases the amount of instructional costs because non-union teachers generally earn less than their unionized counterparts. A lower instructional cost allows for more profit. Cronyism has also impacted charter schools quite a bit. Proponents of charter schools say that the less red tape that charter schools have to deal with, the better. That charter schools are able to operate with less oversight, less of a bureaucratic nature because they are privatized, and privatization is inherently the right way to run things. Oftentimes, many charter schools don't even need to have a competitive bid, though, for contracts over $5,000. They can hand out contracts to board members, to friends of board members, to family members without any oversight. As far as spending goes, in a 2012 study in Michigan, charter schools spent on average $1,100 more on administrative costs and actually $900 less on instruction when compared to a traditional public school. Many charter schools operate with that privatization mentality, that the survival of the fittest, that Darwinistic mentality, trying to implement and apply free market principles to public education, that the survival of the fittest, the best performing school will survive when charter schools are compared to traditional public schools. However, according to an Educational Policy Research Institute, or unit, competition from these charters, even though the charter operators say that it should increase the performance of traditional public schools, has not. Competition from vouchers and charter schools is no more beneficial for traditional public schools' performance than competition from nearby private or public schools. So there hasn't been any correlation or any causality between successful charter schools creating more successful traditional public schools. The argument does not hold water. A recommendation of mine for true school reform, if that's what these charter operators want, not just profit, if they do want true reform. Most charters are in significantly racially isolated locations. My recommendation would be to forcibly integrate public schools. This has been shown to be a significant way to close the achievement gap. In the 1970s, 1980s, when there was forced school integration, the reading achievement gap shrunk 20 points. Once the integration was stopped, it actually started to expand again. My conclusion, there's only one group that truly benefits from these schools, and that's the operators. The for-profit charter school operators are really the only ones that benefit. The students aren't